You are entering the cosmos.
You're on mute. You're on mute, General. You're on mute.
Okay, now I'm hearing the theme song again. and the whole time of the opening credits, I'm just seeing the cosmos planet. And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I don't
I hope you can hear me.
It's tech gremlins. It could be a Russian bot. We don't know.
Those damn Russian bots.
I'll look in.
So can you hear that?
No, I can't hear it. No, and
okay. It's just me. It's something's going on my phone. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'll just try to play through it as best I can. As distracting as it is, we have an interesting show today because for the first time on this show, we're going to actually talk about 3 films, 2 of them in major comparison to each other because they're basically the same film, except for like the last 20-30 minutes of each film. And, good peach tea. And the third one, I'm just going to show you some slides from that one to show you why the second one, which had Klaus Kinski in it, didn't make a lot of money at the box office. So with that said, yes, let's bring back up my able-bodied assistant, Millie Hazzard.
I'm not your assailant.
Are you drinking?
I'm drinking, but it's okay. This is you know what this is? These are electrolytes because
that is a red Solo cup. That's what they use for parties.
Yeah, because it's electrolytes, and I got to go through a lot of them. I'm here in the laboratory, as you can see behind me. This is an excellent state-of-the-art facility, and we are in one of the communal hive minds. We have we call it the hive mind. It's the HQ, it's our little hive. And we all buzz around.
Kind of like the alien thing we talked about last week.
It's exactly the same thing. And this is public. We allow schools, children to come in here, some science field trips to come in here. It's a beautiful thing. We do a lot of, back and forth with the public to try to educate. And so I'm taking this time out to do these training films because, as you know, this is one of the media. We harness the media to explain to people that these things are very real. These are training films. These are not movies. These are not traditional movies that have no message. We're trying to educate you. Like right now, we're going to talk about some vampires. And what you should do if you come across a vampire. I've been on some dates back in high school. There was definitely some vampire action. I'll tell you that. Some boys like to channel some of their inner vampire. But I digress. Anyways, these are electrolytes. So
you are drinking, aren't you?
No, I'm not drinking. I promise.
There's a party going on over there. You got a lab set behind you. And you're telling me that kids are coming into this top secret lab. And when you laugh and go forward, I can see your entire lab.
I went to NASA. I used to work at NASA. I have real degrees from real universities.
Well, I see that on the jacket. But that doesn't mean there's not Bacardi and Coke in that damn cup, that Solo cup you have there.
I was on the TikTok. I'll tell you this. Kids, there's a TikTok for General Howitzer. And I did see there was a TikTok on a Sunday. And he was like, look, I'm watching YouTube. I don't need to be you don't need to be checking in on me. And so inquiring minds want to know, what does General Howitzer on a Sunday watch on YouTube? I need to know this.
Well, yeah, I'm doing my job. I mean, people to ask me questions on this TikTok thing. Teenagers want to know how to protect themselves from vampires and werewolves. And somebody even asked me about sandworms this past week. But yeah, Sunday is my day off. So don't bother me on Sunday.
Don't bother the general on a Sunday. Well, I concur. I never contact him on a Sunday. I only contact him when he's drinking his peach tea and we get to hear some of his noises, which we all adore.
And not Bacardi and Coke.
It's not Bacardi and Coke. That would never happen. I'm a professional.
So yeah, there's a lot of good information on YouTube. You can learn. So anyway, now kids are going to go to that clip and they're going to show it to their mom and dad. See, even General Howitzer says there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube you can learn from. So I'm waiting for that now. That to come back on me. My son said
it'll come back and get
my
you.
daughter said
Everything you say in the media, comes back to get you. You just got to be very super hyper vigilant. You have to be very careful.
I love watching you stumble through words like super hyper vigilant.
Maybe there's a little Bacardi, okay? Maybe there's a little Bacardi.
Yeah, I think you're drinking. Anyway. But yeah, I see NASA on your coat there, so I understand. You got to kick back a little every now and again too. And
I'll tell you this: I'm in the laboratory. I'm signed in. I'm at work. I'm our last defense. But it's possible that I'm inebriated for an experiment, and I'll just leave it there. It's possible.
And if a vampire bit you right now, they'd have to stagger away. The police would be able to catch him right away. Did I make something come up the nose?
Not yet, but about a nanosecond.
I was that close, wasn't I? Damn.
Missed it by that much.
Okay, so there are different kinds of vampires, and there are what we know as Nosferatu vampires, which are bald with pointy ears. It's very easy to spot a Nosferatu vampire.
I say Nosferatu.
Nosferatu?
I say Nosferatu. I think we all say Nosferatu. I don't know where Nosferatu.
Let's call the whole thing off. So, you say Nosferatu, I say Nosferatu. So in any case, it's spelled the same, and you're probably right. It's probably Nosferatu.
I think it's Nosferatu, but we don't have to go like that. We don't have to jump when we.
In any case, they're really gnarly and they're very easy to spot. So if you can see one, you can get away quickly because they're very gnarly.
Diamond.
And the latest one I saw was in the new Munsters movie. There was a Nosferatu.
Say that again. Munsters movie.
The Munsters movie. Herman Munster. And Grandpa.
Has everybody been watching this Wednesday? It's on the Netflix or something like that. I
just binge watched it.
And she does the little dance, but the original Wednesday also did that dance. That dance was originated in the original show.
Ah, very nice.
There's a TikTok challenge where they do the dance, and I'm just telling you, General, there's a chance that you might be asked to do the Wednesday dance. Wednesday dance challenge
on Wednesday.
Yeah, just do the hashtag Wednesday dance challenge on TikTok. You'll see it.
Well, I was waiting for her to do the Batusi, because she was doing all these 60s dances and stuff, and I was waiting for the Batusi, and she didn't do it, so I was a little disappointed.
She did her own version. It's the Wednesday dance.
The Wednesday dance, and they didn't even use real pig's blood at the dance. So anyway, I found that mildly amusing. Anyway, let's not get into a review of Wednesday, okay? Shall we not? Because we got 3 movies to get through here.
We might want to do a special Howitzer on it. Everybody's loving the Wednesday. Everybody loves it.
Well, it's Tim Burton, and he's creepy and he does creepy stuff, and he's good at that. So, excuse me, Nosferatu, which was a film by Murnau in 1922. I feel we should move forward. There's a lot to cover here.
Nosferatu.
Now, actually, believe it or not, we got the slideshow around 150 slides, even with 3 movies, because, again, this was a short film from 1922. Actually, it's longer than most of the silent films. And again, the 2 movies are so similar for the first hour that you'll see the similarities. This is I watched a Symphony of Horrors, which has one of the Hammer Films composers composed a music track for this, which was very entertaining as well. I highly recommend it if you can find it. But it's a silent film. Okay, so. And it's a telling of Dracula by Bram Stoker, as are all of these films that we're going to talk about. So we're going to see the similarities and the differences. So there it is, the village that the little British village that our hero is from. And there is our hero. He's so happy all the time. And his wife, she's a little dark. She's a little Wednesday. She's kind of dark. Anyway. And there is another movie called Shadow of the Vampire that was made about the making of this film. And there's Mr. Renfield, who this guy works with. This is supposed to be Jonathan Harker. It's a different name in this movie, but because they were trying to not get copyright thing. Now, here's the thing. The other two movies that we're going to see were in 1979, and that is when the copyright on Dracula ran out. So they were able to make these movies and not be hit with copyright because the copyright ran out in 1978. So I just wanted to point that out at this point. But in 1922, they had to worry about copyright. So all the names of the characters are different. But I'm going to use the names from the book now because we can. And this is Mr. Renfield, who this guy works with. And he's Jonathan Harker. And he sends him to Transylvania to Count Dracula's castle. Dracula wants to buy a little place here in England. And they try to make Germany look like England in this. And, Renfield is one taco short of Fiesta Platter. Let's put it that way. So he says, why don't you give Dracula one of those places over there across the street from your house? And Harker's like, yeah, okay, whatever. His wife, she is kind of psychic. So she doesn't want him to go. She's afraid something bad's going to happen to him. She's foreshadowing. She's seeing things that might happen to him. But he leaves. Hey, this is money, honey. Come on, Daddy's got to bring home the bacon. Come on. So he's off. He's off to Transylvania, which is a several-week trip by horse and carriage. He gets to the main village, and the guys in the pub are like, "Hey, you don't want to go to Dracula's house? Come on now, what are you, crazy? Yeah." And he poo-poos it. It's all superstition, blah, blah, blah. He's not a vampire. Come on, what are you talking about? And he gets close to the castle, and the coachman lets him out there and says, you got to walk the rest of the way. Well, he won't go close to the count. But a creepy carriage shows up, and come on, tell me that's not the Count. That is Count Dracula right there as the coachman. Yes, I'm the coachman, and I'm also the master of the house, and I also serve the dinners. Anyway. So the coachman comes and picks him up in a black coach with black all over it, black horses, and very, very symbolic. And he scurries him back to the castle. And the Count is kind of creepy when he first meets him. He does have his ears covered up, and he's not showing he's got two little fangs in the front of his, the Nosferatu vampires have the two little fangs right in the front, which is a dead giveaway. Okay. They can cover up the bald head and the weird pointy ears with the hats and stuff, but that's very hard to cover up those two little fangs right in the front where they look like Jerry Lewis, a Jerry Lewis vampire. So there it is. I didn't mean to hurt anybody, lady. So, at dinner time, there's a nice big spread of dinner, and this guy's eating bread. He cuts his thumb, cutting the bread. And Dracula notices right away. Hey, you got the boo-boo. Let me suck that for you. This basically happens in every Dracula film. He's got to suck on that finger. Come on. And it's creepy and weird and bizarre. And they always talk, the guy, even after the fact, the guy's been put off by the fact that he wants to suck his thumb. He goes, let's sit down for a while. And then the guy goes to sleep, and he wakes up and he's got 2 puncture marks on his neck. Dracula had a little midnight toddy. So, but even though he wakes up and he sees the 2 things on here, mosquitoes. He goes, hey, look at that spread. He completely forgets about the marks on his neck because, man, Dracula knows how to set a table. He does. So that night when Dracula wakes up or comes back again, he says, I have business that I attend to during the day. He's going to buy that. He's signing the paperwork for the house, and he sees a locket, which has the picture of Mina, Jonathan Harker's lady, his wife, in it, and Dracula is enchanted. Sound like Jeff Goldblum there. He's enchanted. So Jeff Goldblum would make a great Dracula, I think. Anyway, I think that would be fun to watch. So anyway, he takes his locket back and says, yeah, give me that. Yeah. Your wife is a hottie. So yeah, I know I'm doing them like the Sesame Street vampire. So that night in his room, everything's really creepy, and Dracula comes in. and he's really creepy, and he's full out Nosferatu vampire. And Mina wakes up in the middle of the night. She's having a dream that Jonathan is being bitten by a vampire, and she sleepwalks around too in this movie. She has these dreams about Dracula in his castle, all those miles away. So again, she's kind of weird. She likes to get her freak on. So yeah, she's reaching out, and there people are watching her. What the hell's wrong with you? And the Count seems to feel her reaching out for him, her goodness, whatever it is, her good spirit reaching out to him, and he stops sucking all the blood out of Jonathan. Now Jonathan wakes up, he checks around the castle, and he finds out that Dracula is buried in a coffin, or he sleeps in a coffin in the daytime. Weird, awkward. So that night he's watching Dracula load up coffins, man, and he is heading out, and he's locked him in his room. He goes, oh my God, Mina is in danger. He's going to London. He's taking his coffins with him. He's a vampire, and he's going to kill Mina. He doesn't care about the rest of the town. He just cares about Mina. So he makes a nice little bedspread rope and climbs out the window and heads out. And Dracula's coffins are on. There's a nice little dangerous looking scene where they're going down the rapids with a bunch of coffins on a raft. I love that. I don't know why, but I just love that. That they actually set that shot up in all of these movies, or in this movie and the next one, the Kinski movie later. You'll see it. Again, I'm just going to go through the second movie with slides like that. There it is. There it is. There it is. You'll see. Jonathan is sick. He has to stop off at a house, and some people have to take care of him for a while because he's very sick. He's like, no, I got to get on my horse. I got to go. Renfield, on the other hand, has been institutionalized because he is just a nutball. He is just a nutball. And he's like, the master is coming. So and these two guys on the right that run the institution, they definitely look very Keystone Cops. They do. Meanwhile, Mina likes to hang out on the beach. She likes to watch for, he went on a horse, but she's looking for a ship that's coming in, I guess, which is kind of weird. So maybe she's looking for Dracula to come in on his ship before she's looking for Jonathan to come in. Maybe she knows Dracula's got a head start, so she'll wait at the beach for him, and then she'll wait for the horse later. Anyway, I don't know. So yes, Dracula and his coffins full of his native soil have been loaded onto a ship. They're also full of rats. They've been loaded onto the ship, and the ship starts losing crew members right away. Every night somebody jumps off ship or comes down with some terrible disease, plague, and they die, and they have to be thrown overboard. Their bodies have to be thrown overboard. And it comes down to the first mate and the captain. And then he says, well, you're the first mate, so you got to go down and check what's in those coffins, okay? Because this is getting out of hand. We have no crew now. It's just you and me. So the first mate goes down. And I don't know if you guys remember Alan Hops, who was on this show. He does our werewolf stuff. This guy really does look like Alan Hops to me. Anyway, I digress. So Dracula comes up out of his coffin because the first mate is trying to open the coffin, and Dracula's like, no, you don't touch my coffin. Not without me having to say something about it. Dracula pops up out of his coffin. The guy is scared. It scares the bejeebus out of him. It scares the GB out of him. He jumps off the ship. He doesn't care if he's in the middle of the ocean. I'm not going to get bitten by a vampire. I'd rather be eaten by a shark. So I'm getting off the ship now. So he jumps. Meanwhile, the captain's like, wait, what the hell? Why are you jumping ship? Hey, dude. So the captain is there on the ship by himself. He lashes himself to the wheel. This happens in all three of these movies. The captain lashes himself to the wheel because he's the only guy on the ship. And the vampire comes out. And that's a very famous shot of Max Schreck. That's the name of the actor that plays Nosferatu. I think he's called Count Orlok in this. But he's Dracula. And then the ship comes in by itself into the English harbor there. And the vampire comes out. Hey, what is happening, buddy? He comes on out, and there's a bunch of rats. A lot of rats around. And he picks up his coffin very nonchalantly and walks it across town to his house. And because it's supposed to be night, nobody sees it. And Renfield is like, the master is here, the master is here. And the vampire's like, I don't know this guy. So they get back to the ship in the daytime. It's already, it's kind of docked itself. And they go aboard and they find the captain with 2 bite marks on his neck, and he's lashed to the wheel. Again, this happens in all 3 movies. And they read the captain's log. My crew has been suffers from plague, and we've had to throw them all overboard. And they go, oh my God, it's plague. The ship brought plague here. And there was a whole bunch of rats coming off the ship too, right? So they go to your homes, lock yourselves in. And yes, sure enough, the plague hits the town and people start dying left and right. Every night, a couple people die. And they have to mark the houses with a little cross on the door. But it's kind of weird because, you would want to mark the houses with the cross on the door so the vampire wouldn't come in, because the vampires don't like, the Nosferatu vampires don't like crosses. But they do it after. So it's like, you guys need to learn to do this right. Okay, you're doing it out of order. You mark the cross on the house before the vampire comes, so it keeps him out. But you guys didn't learn that, did you? So Mina and her husband finally comes back. Jonathan finally comes back. She's very happy to see her husband. He's still alive. He's back, but now most of the town is dead because it took him weeks to get there. He got there way after the ship. He was sick. He had to go by horse and carriage. And there it is. There's the vampire's house. There's the Count Dracula's house. And he's, holed up in there in the daytime. And he goes out and has fun at night. Drinks blood. So a lot of coffins coming out of houses. A lot of dead people. And Renfield gets away. He gets away from the nut house. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it that. The institution for rehabilitation. And he's up on the roof and he's laughing and throwing stuff at people. And they blame him for no real apparent reason. They decide it's his fault that everybody's dying in this town. He's the reason, not the plague that we let come into the town on a boat with rats, but this guy. So they go and chase after him. And it's a nice little. It's one of those Keystone Cops kind of chases around the field, and then they get him and they take him back. Or actually, they imply that they kill him in this movie. Actually, it's implied. I don't think we see him again in this movie, as a matter of fact. In the next movie with Klaus Kinski, they take Renfield back to the institution, and he's in the institution. I can't remember. Anyway, I might be wrong about that. So anyway, he is across the street from her house, and he is really laying it on thick, the vampire mojo. Ooh, you want me to come to your room and suck your blood? Ooh, open your window, come on. And she's waking up in the middle of the night, and she's So she decides now, Mina, that she is going to save the town because she has read in a vampire book that her husband brought back with him that if a woman can make him stay till the cock's first crow, you can put any joke in there you want. That the vampire will perish. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice my life. I'm going to let the vampire suck on me all night long until the cock's first crow. And he'll die, and my husband will be saved, and the town will be saved, which is very nice. So she opens the window very dramatically, and he comes in. He walks across the street, and as the husband sleeps there in the living room, this is a very, very famous scene. A lot of shadow play here with the vampire coming up to the house, but all you see is his shadow. So that's kind of eerie and creepy and interesting. And again, back in 1922, that was something. I mean, the audience is like, oh, whoa, wow, look at that.
But it does make you wonder, about him not getting a manicure. I don't know why he can't get a manicure. It's like,
That was,
you go outside looking like that. I don't know. Just take a file. It's just no big problem.
and you're going
Nosferatu.
to see this, especially in the next movie. That is one of the very big tells of, okay, this guy's a vampire. Look at those nails, man. Look at
Yeah.
those nails.
Hmm.
Yes. So
It's very monstrous. It's very scary. It's very creepy. But like, how does he twist off a Coke can? I don't understand. It's got to be
twist off
very
a Coke.
hard for him. A
But he
Coke
doesn't drink
can.
Coke. He doesn't drink
Coke
wine.
or the blood. I want to suck your
He
blood.
drinks
Blah,
blood.
blah, blah. Yes, of course. And say, yeah.
Dracula never said blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. No,
You know that, right? He never said blah, blah, blah.
no, he didn't. But all the comedians, the impressionists have been doing it for decades. Gels or acrylics? Thank you.
I think
That's
that started with
inquiring
Larry
that
Storch. Larry
everybody
Storch
wants
was
to
the one that
know.
did that from F Troop. He just died this past year. He just died a couple of months ago. He was like 100.
Wow.
And he was the one that started the Cary Grant saying Judy, Judy, Judy. Anyway, I think it was Larry Storch that started that. And ironically, he played Dracula in the Groovy Ghoulies. Yes, Dracula. And he was. I'm digressing here. I know it. I realize. He did Mr. Whoopi from the Tennessee Tuxedo Cartoons. Anyway, Larry Storch, miss him. I'm gonna miss him. We all miss him. So the vampire doesn't even have to twist the doorknob. His shadow does it for him.
And there's the Slavic nose. He's got the Slavic nose. It's a little,
He's got a hawk nose of the Medicis.
He's got a bit of the hawk nose there. I'm just gonna put it out there. I can see it.
That's how you tell. That's how you tell a Nosferatu.
I think that's why he's called Nos. They're talking about his schnoz. They're talking about his schnoz. It's a little dig at him.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, it's Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Anyway, go back to that last slide if you would, because I want to show you how a Nosferatu gropes a woman with his shadow hands. See, now he can say, "I didn't touch her." So I'm sorry, I went there.
I didn't suck.
I went there.
Touch your butt. I didn't.
I didn't even touch her. I made a little shadow play. Anyway, that just came to me now. So, and I went there. I decided to go there. But that's how a vampire gropes you.
We made a decision in the moment and we just went for it. There you go.
All right. So she lets him suck the blood, and sure enough, the cock's first crow, and he's like, what? Come on. How long does it take to suck the blood out of a person? Wait a minute. So evidently
the comedy here with his face, the alarm on his face is just priceless.
He does look very disturbed.
He's very
and to point the fact out twice, the crow cocks again, or the cock crows again.
The crow cocks again.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, I got to go.
By the way, this is an adult show. If you haven't guessed by now.
We forgot to put the there we go.
There's going to be talk about blood. There's going to be bad words, and again, it's a spoiler alert. We show the whole movie. We're showing the whole movie for 2 movies this show from beginning to end. So you're going to get spoilers. Anyway, so and I didn't colorize this, by the way, because the slides were already kind of colored in sepia tones and blue tones and pink tones, as you can see here. So I just said, that's kind of cool. Let's show it like that. So the vampire disappears, poof, in a puff of smoke. You see a little puff of smoke there at the edge of the chair.
It looks like they're doing interpretive dance. It's a little like
oh yeah, that is Renfield. I'm sorry, they didn't kill him. They did take him back to the insane asylum. So yeah, the vampire poof in a puff of smoke, which I think is very funny. And you can see the sun creeping on the tops of the houses across the street, which is his house. Oh dear. And that's it. He's dead. And she comes back for just a few seconds to see her handiwork, to see that she has accomplished in her mission, even though she's completely drained of blood. Because, he must have been working on her for hours. Seriously. And yes, Renfield is very sad. The master is gone. He's gone. So there she is. She comes back for just a couple of seconds, and she's very happy, and then she dies. My husband is safe. The sound is safe now. Blah! She croaks. So he comes to her in the bed, but she's dead. And that's the sad ending of this movie. And he's called something else here, but he's supposed to be Dr. Van Helsing. Just shakes his head. Wow, what a terrible thing. And that's it. The end. So we move on to the next movie now. This is 1978. This movie was made. 20th Century Fox. Nosferatu the Vampire. We start with, this is, by the way, from director Werner Herzog. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog, and he's a very, he's got a very distinct voice. We all know him. We all love him.
He was recently in the Mandalorian TV show. And he's like a Dr. Piranha. No, he's an interesting director.
He could narrate anything and make it just profound with pathos, and it's incredible. His whole vibe is
and he tried to inject a lot of pathos in this, showing that the vampire's life is not a great life. It's very lonely. And they start out with creepy mummies from Mexico. I don't know why, but creepy mummies from Mexico. Now, Isabel Adjani, who's the lead actress in this, yeah, man, she's definitely worth watching this. Her husband, I can't remember who the actor is. Not so much. Anyway, she's a very caring wife. We see that very early on. She's waking up with bad nightmares, and he's like, "Oh, honey, are you okay? It's okay." And she's a lot more supportive of him, it seems, than her. Now, he goes to work, and Renfield is there. And Renfield is, you're seeing kind of some insanity here already. As he tells Harker, and again, they're using the real names in this one because they've got there's no copyright, so they're using the names Renfield and Harker in this, and Mina and such, and Dracula. So, excuse me. Renfield tells him he's going to go to Dracula, Transylvania. The wife is upset. She doesn't want to give to go. Again, the same story. Herzog actually runs the same exact story. It's almost an homage to the earlier film. Some shots were exactly duplicated until the last 30 minutes of the movie. The last 30 minutes of the movie, he kind of changes things. So he gives you something you're not expecting. So anyway, she doesn't want him to go, but he says, I have to go. There's a lot of money. She goes, take me to the beach one last time before you go. Because she's evidently a beach. She likes the beach. She's a beach woman.
To the Beach Boys. She's probably into Al Jardine. Who wouldn't? You can't blame her. It's beautiful at the beach. I could see her.
She listens to the Beach Boys.
I bet you she listens to the Beach Boys.
I'm thinking about good vibrations. Vampires and expectations. Anyway.
Good vampires.
good vampires. So he's like, no, I gotta go. So he kisses her and he leaves, just like in the first film. He's like, nope, going. Sorry. And he leaves her with a doctor friend of his. And I love this. Okay, this shot, it's him saying, hey, I'm going to Castle Dracula. Hurry. Give me some wine. Give me some. He says Castle Dracula. Next slide, please. Ooh, awkward. Every head turns and looks at him, stares at him. It's great.
Awkward. It's just a little weird. It's just a little weird. He should have.
They all hear he's going to Count Dracula, and oh man, don't go there.
We've all had those moments at a dinner party where we say the wrong thing. We wish we could just put it back, and you just can't. It's out of the bag.
And we get that look.
And you just get that look. Everyone's like, you can hear the little the fork going down on the plate. Gasp. Just a little bit of that.
So I love Herzog's direction of that is just wonderful. It's just really wonderful. And then, of course, this guy is like, hey, don't go to Castle Dracula. Nobody's going to take you. There's no coaches that go up there. It's too scary. But he's like, oh. And here I also like the fact that they make the guy, Harker, look horrible. Greasy hair. He's all, I mean, he's been on the road for a couple of weeks. They make him look nasty.
But I love the little details with the costume.
That's reality.
The embroidery. That's very Ukrainian embroidery there. So you are remembering that you're out there. You're near Transylvania. You're in the eastern part of the world.
Is Ukraine close to Transylvania?
Yes, of course, definitely.
Oh, wow.
All the Carpathian
I didn't know that.
Mountains.
See, we learned something.
There. Yes, it's all of that Slavic.
It's there near the Carpathian Mountains, huh?
Well, it's that general idea. It's Eastern Europe, you know. That's why they talk like this. We want to suck your blood. They talk like this. They're very Slavic, you know.
Understood. All right, so he walks out. He sets off on foot. He can't get a carriage to take him, so he sets off on foot towards Castle Dracula. And a coach comes and picks him up, and it's a black coach with black horses, just like the first movie. Now, I don't think it's Dracula as the coachman. It's a different guy. So I will give him that much. He changed that, which and again, in the Lugosi version of Dracula, it's Lugosi obviously is the coachman. And then he gets out of the coach, changes into the Dracula outfit, and meets him at the front door. just like Nosferatu, the Murnau version 22. So in this case, it's a different coachman. I don't know why that bugs me, but there it is. I don't know why they did that. So he goes up and he meets Klaus Kinski as Count Dracula. And look at those fingernails, huh? Look at those choppers. He's got the two front fangs.
If he's gonna keep them, he should at least, do some painting on them, make them look a little bit more appetizing, a little bit more pleasing to the eye, a little aesthetically beautiful. He needs to go.
Paint his nails?
Yeah, he should paint his nails. At least it'll look a little bit better. That's gross. You just imagine the centuries of dirt under those things. Very gross. Well,
that might help him, to get gay victims to come closer to him. Maybe, I don't know.
We don't know. I think.
Look at my nails. Instead of look into my eyes.
Yeah,
look
but
at my
you can
nails.
paint little scenes on them, little beautiful things on them, and the women
nice, aren't they?
That's beautiful. And let me take a
They're
look.
Nice. Here, take a closer look.
Take a closer look. And I want to start blood.
All right, that was interesting. So they have dinner again, and he's pouring him some wine. And you know what's going to happen next? Yep. There it is. Cuts his thumb with the bread knife. And again, it's a bread knife. I don't know how he cuts his thumb. He must have really worked on it to get it to open up there. But Dracula, he is all on top of it. You'll have a boo-boo. By the way, Dracula's voice in this, Kinski's voice in this, and they shot this in both German and English, just like they shot the original Dracula in Spanish and English at the same time with different actors for that one. For the Lugosi version, there's another guy playing the Spanish Dracula. But they did the same thing here. They shot the movie 2 times. Each take was done 2 times, one in German and one in English. And Kinski's voice in this, he's like Andy Warhol Dracula. He's got this real disinterested kind of voice when he talks, and it's kind of whiny. Oh, you have a boo-boo. Let me suck it for you. So I find that amusing, entertaining. So, and again, even though the guy says, no, I'm okay. He sucks at it. And I mean, he goes for it. And this really, really shows this time. So, this scene is also in Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola. So, I mean, again, there's a lot of this scene. There's a lot of them. Anyway, and he talks him, even though he's kind of weirded out by the whole sucking his thumb thing, he talks him into sitting down. And of course, he wakes up in the morning and he's got 2 puncture marks on his neck. But in this one, they show him actually falling asleep because the Count is gazing at him. And you think, oh, he's hypnotizing him into going to sleep. That's what it is. So he wakes up and he's pale. You can see how pale he is. And he's got. Now here he looks like Javier Bardem. I don't know why I made that distinction, but he does look kind of like Javier Bardem here, this actor. And again, Count Dracula knows how to set a spread on his table. Makes him forget about the bite marks right away. So he eats. because Dracula wants him to keep his strength up. He wants that blood to be pumping. Just like in all the other movies, the feast is good at Dracula's house. Now, here's something weird. He just threw this little kid in playing violin in the castle during the daytime. He just threw that in there. Herzog did. I don't know where this kid came from. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why he's playing violin. He's playing badly too, by the way. But there it is. You know, does he suck the blood of this kid every few nights? You know, before people come to the. I don't know. I don't know. But he's a little kid from that area, and he's playing violin during the day. So, that night. They're doing the paperwork. The Count is going to sign the paperwork, and he sees the locket again with Mina's picture in it. And he grabs it just like all the other Draculas do. And he looks at it and he's like, "Whoa, your wife is a hottie. Yeah, your wife's a hottie." And that night, Dracula comes to his room, forces his way into the room, and he's creepy. And then he's scared and he bites him. He sucks his blood. And Mina wakes up again in the middle of the night. "Oh my God, Jonathan." And now everybody comes in the room. "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" The guy that's kneeling by her bed there is Van Helsing. By the way, in this movie, it's the most ineffective, stupid Van Helsing in any vampire movie. I'm seeing cat hairs on my hat. So anyway, she calls out to Jonathan, and the vampire hears it somehow. And he stops. He stops drinking his blood. What? He stops. And that's just how he sounds, by the way. It's a very good impression. Anyway. Again, would you even stay in a house with a guy that looked like this? I mean, seriously. Would you stay in a creepy castle with a guy that looked like this? Or look like the Nosferatu from the 1922, the Max Schreck version. I wouldn't. It's like, no. Here, I'm going to leave the paperwork on the table. I'm going to go down and stay somewhere else. I'll go back to the village. So again, he looks for him in the daytime and finds out that he's buried in a crypt. Or that he sleeps in a crypt. And it freaks him out. Awkward. And he sees the coffins going onto the carriage, and he's locked in his room. The Count takes off. And again, he makes a rope out of bed sheets and climbs out the window. Now, in this case, he actually falls quite a distance to the ground and hurts himself. And again, he's not well. He's not feeling well. So... But the vampire's got a head start on him. There was actually a shot there. I don't know how it didn't get into this slide, but there's a shot of the actual coffins going down the rapids. Herzog actually reshot that scene. And again, it's there where the coffins are on a raft going down the rapids. So here we have the ship heading towards England. Same situation completely. You know, the crew's all dying one by one from some unknown disease. He's very sick. And the gypsies, and this one, the gypsies are taking care of him. But look how sick he looks. He's got the fever. She's waiting on the beach. Why there's headstones all around the beach? I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a British thing. if there are cemeteries by the beach. I don't know. Or if that's just a Herzog thing. But she's on a bench at the beach, looking over the ocean. He's doing his best to try to get to her, even though he's not feeling well. He's sick. He's on a horse. You know, he's trying to get back. Trying to get back to my baby. Galloping. And there's the captain lashing himself to the wheel. He's the last one. When you're the last one, you got to lash yourself to the wheel. Keep the stern. What the hell is that thing? The rudder straight. Keep the rudder straight. Lashes himself to the wheel, and that's how they find him when the ship floats into town, floats up the canal. The captain is lashed to the wheel. He's dead. Got the 2 bite marks on the neck. They don't see that though. They read the captain's log. The captain's diary. Oh, it's the It's the plague. Just like the other movie. Again, exact same thing. Now,
they needed a Columbo. That would have really helped the whole situation if they just had somebody, a detective, that could look in there. Yeah.
Pardon me, but I was wondering why did all this fellow has 2 bite marks on his neck? Where did that come from? So anyway, thanks for setting that up. I appreciate it.
That was intentional. Thank you. You fell right into it. It was great.
Of course I did. I don't treat those kind of setups lightly now. I gotta ask you. I don't mean to bother you or anything, but what made you do that? So the town's gonna have the plague. This is where Herzog's script starts to change things. Okay, the whole process of the plague hitting the town and killing the people is really kind of weird because they just kind of flip out and freak out and go crazy, the whole town, because they know they're going to die. They know they're going to die from plague. And I'll tell you, there are a lot more rats in this movie than there were in the first one. And Herzog had to, he actually had an animal trainer kind of person on, or maybe it was like from the ASPCA. I can't remember the name of the organization, but to make sure that there's no cruelty to animals on the set. Evidently, that person quit on this film because Herzog dyed the rats gray, a lot of them. And the rats licked up the dye, a lot of it. And a lot of them died from that. They said that there are horses that were abused during this film. Herzog did not take care of the animals very well, evidently, on this film.
I didn't know that he was like that. He's so beloved. I feel like we could ruin his career with this.
I'm sorry. I read that and I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
The horses, the rats, that's awful.
Well, and again, there is a scene where there is a horse laying down on the ground. There is a horse laying down on the ground during one of the plague scenes, and the town is going crazy and everything's nuts. He had to actually, one town would not let him put all the rats around in the town. So he had to shoot that in a different town. That was one of the problems he had.
I'm very disappointed right now.
And there is a scene actually where there's a horse lying on the ground, and you're thinking to yourself, "My God, that horse looks dead." I wonder, or it definitely was. Maybe he injected it, to knock it out or something. But this horse is lying on its side, and it's really a horse. There's no if ands or yeah.
I don't know that I can be a fan of his anymore. This is a little unsettling. I'm gonna find him on the Instagram.
Well, and you got to realize this was 1978. They've passed a lot more laws and stuff. But there are the rats. They're dyed gray.
There's the rats.
Yeah, and again, a lot of them. I mean, there are a lot of them. He had a lot of rats, thousands. In this movie, he wanted the rats. Here we got Kinski taking his coffin off the ship at night when nobody's paying attention. And moving it across town to his house. And he goes through a church, which is weird. I don't know why he goes through a church, but there's a scene where he goes past the cross on the wall, and it's a mild deterrent, it looks like, because he just goes, and he walks around it. And I swear to God, that's exactly how he sounds when he walks, and he walks around it. So it's kind of weird. Anyway. So he moves forward and he gets his coffin. I swear to God.
That needs to be one of Rory Penland's 1,000 voices. That
is Klaus Kinski playing Dracula, looking at a cross. There it is. I'm Andy Warhol Dracula.
Andy Warhol Dracula. Oh gosh. That's
I swear to you, when you watch this film, you'll laugh at how he talks because it's not the powerful Dracula. It's like kind of wimpy, whiny Dracula.
Why? It's Andy Warhol Dracula.
I don't know why he does it, but anyway, there it is.
What was the idea there?
I'm very lonely, and he whines when he talks to her in a minute. He's okay. So
I think it's more of a Woody Allen Dracula.
Because Allen was at the top of his game at this point, back in the late 70s. Woody Allen Dracula. Now there we go. I would have loved to have seen that now. A Woody Allen Dracula? Oh, hell yeah. I'd buy that in a heartbeat. Just think of what it could have happened. Hey, they can do it with CGI. They can do it with CGI. Anyway, so the husband
I'm
comes
leaving you
back.
up there so you'll do it next to the thing.
Got me laughing now. I can't do it when I'm laughing. You know, I want to buy property here, and maybe me, a couple of girls, have a couple of religious experiences.
Thank you. That's so hard.
Woody Allen Dracula.
Woody Allen Dracula. That's a TikTok, everybody.
You know, without the crosses, you know. So anyway, thanks for setting that one up too.
He's very uncomfortable. Things are not to his liking. That's the key to the whole.
But it's such a wimpy, whiny kind of way to get around that cross. That's the thing. It cracked me up every time I watched it. So the husband comes back, but he's got amnesia. He doesn't even know who his wife is anymore. He doesn't know what's going on at all. He's back and he's got amnesia, which is again Herzog's take on it, different, and of course it means more sadness for Mina. This is Dracula's power over him. Evidently, he still has power over him even at this point. So now he doesn't even know who Mina is. So, but she takes care of him. You know, because she's a good woman. And the hottie. Dracula was running around town, biting more people. Again, if that came into your house, woof. And the shadow play, his shadowy claws moving across houses. They were not able to shoot in England, so they had to shoot in towns in Germany. And then he finally goes to see Mina. And again, here he's whiny as well. You have no idea how lonely my life is. So it's like, come on now. That's not Dracula.
That was another one. You have no idea. And now he is standing like
I
Andy
swear that's
Warhol.
how he sounds.
He's standing like I've seen Andy's, Warhol standing like that. So he look and the head tilt, he's like this, but then he sounds like Woody Allen. So it's just a beautiful. Do it again. It's like.
Well, what's funny about this is she's covering up her cross that she has on her body, around her neck.
Okay, so he's
and finally, when he just annoys her to the point where she doesn't want to talk to him anymore, she goes whoa, and she shows the cross. He's like, he runs off again.
It's like Andy Warhol seeing something very aesthetically unpleasing.
Yeah, I can't believe you did that.
That was so not cool.
Exactly.
It's not the Vanguard.
The cross again.
It's not the vibe I'm looking for.
So he goes away. He's like, geez, I got rid of him. Good. But the bodies are stacking up. I mean, it's just people. And Renfield shows up. He gets away. And he's like, get away from me. Master, you're here. And, okay, so go back. One slide. The town's kind of flipping out. There's pigs running around the street. There's fires. There's people taking their furniture out in the street. They're having banquets out in the street. They're all like, well, we're going to die. Let's drink wine. So again, this is Herzog's version of pandemonium because of a plague. And we get to see that. And again, a lot of weird visuals going on. Again, there was a horse kind of lying in the street in one scene. I should have taken a picture of that. I thought I did. And I did, but I probably just didn't put it in the slide presentation. So she goes and she sees her friends. And this makes an impact on Mina. And this is what makes her decide, look, I'm going to let the Dracula drink my blood. I'll keep a hold of him. I'll make sure he stays because he's so lonely. I'll make sure that I hold on to him and he stays until the cocks first crow. And that's what she does. So, and he pulls up her dress. She got no problem with it. So very, very sensual scene. And again, she's pulling him in. Come on, drink my blood. Come on, drink my blood. And he does. And he didn't paint his nails for the occasion. And the sun comes up. Do they have windmills in England? Just curious.
They definitely do. Of course they
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of
all
them.
right. All right.
Them,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm buying it. So I'm sorry. Go back to one slide. The cock crows. She holds on to him so he can't get away. And again, we get that look. Oh shit! and he dies. You know, his eyes turn white, but he doesn't go in a puff of smoke. He just falls down to the floor, and he looks the same. He doesn't turn into a skeleton. He doesn't go in a puff of smoke. He's just a dead body on the floor. So, and she wakes up for a few seconds. She sees that he's dead, and she goes, oh. And she dies again, just like in the first movie. Okay, now here is where she's been saying all along to Van Helsing, it's a vampire. We need to take care of this. And Van Helsing has been ignoring her. So he sees the body on the floor. He realizes she's right. He's a vampire, and he stakes him. He goes out and he gets a stake, and he stakes him. Now, she has also kept her husband in place in a chair downstairs with crunching up the body of Christ, those little cookies, communion cookies, and putting them around him. So you see what's happened to the husband here. And he actually says he killed the Count Dracula upstairs. So he gets him arrested. He gets Van Helsing arrested. And you can see he looks like a Nosferatu now. He's got the nails. He's got the little teeth in the front. He's become a Nosferatu. So he goes, I've got a lot of work to do, so I've got to be going. Again, this is how Herzog changes the ending of the film. He gets on a horse, and in the daytime, somehow, maybe it's nightfall. I don't know. He goes out, and there's sunlight still out, and he goes off on his horse to be a vampire. That's how Herzog's film ends. Now, okay, this is the Universal version of the Dracula, 1979, with Frank Langella as Dracula. I don't think it's Langella. I think it's Langella. And it starts with the boat scene. Okay, it starts with the boat scene. That's the first thing you see is the boat, and the waters are all crazy, and it's storming, and they're trying to get the Count's box off the ship. They're going to throw him overboard because they know there's something terrible in that box that's killing everybody. Excuse me, God, where did hiccups come from? Jesus. I've been drinking. You've been drinking. I haven't been drinking.
That's what you say. I don't know.
I've been drinking peach tea. It's peach tea, I'm telling you.
That's what it is. It's the peach tea.
Does that make me hiccup? Have I ever hiccuped on any other show?
Never before.
Mango peach tea.
I think it was all the Woody Allen Nosferatu.
It's the Woody Allen that brought the hiccups. It's doing all that. I'm sucking in air as I do that. You got to throw that coffin overboard. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be dealing with a lot of problems if you don't get rid of that big box. Where's my Woody Allen glasses? I'm dressed like I was in Bananas when I took over Cuba. Where's Diane Keaton when you need it? So anyway, they're trying to get his box overboard, and a hand comes through the box, and it's got a claw on it. It's like a werewolf hand. And he gets the guy's neck and rips it open. I mean, we're getting this right away in the film. And the captain lashes himself to the wheel during the storm. So now the boat crashes, of course. And Mina, no, I'm sorry, Lucy goes and finds the Count. The next day, they go to the ship to salvage whatever they can off the ship, and that's when they find all the area. The captain's lashed the wheel with his throat torn out. There was a werewolf on board, evidently. The Count turned himself into a wolf, is what it was. Vampires can evidently turn themselves into wolves or bats. So, and they go back. And now, here is why Herzog's movie didn't make a lot of money at the box office, okay? Frank Langella, the actor that played Dracula on stage and was instrumental in them making this movie, because they saw him on stage and saw what a presence he was, is playing Dracula in this. And, you know, he's a much sexier vampire, sexier than Lugosi. And there's Armina. So we have a very sexy couple here, and it's a love story. It's a love story. Coppola tried to do the same thing with his movie with Gary Oldman playing Dracula and Winona Ryder of all people playing Mina, and it was a love story between Mina and Dracula. He wants her to be his everlasting bride. So now, if you had a chance to be, you know, get your blood sucked by a vampire, would you want, you know, this guy, or would you want, and there is, Sir Laurence Olivier playing Van Helsing, and that's his daughter Lucy Van Helsing turned into a vampire. So again, a lot of creepier stuff going on in this movie that excited the fans, the vampire fans. Got them into the movie seats. Okay, so if you were going to be bitten by a vampire, would you like the guy on the left to bite your neck, or would you like Frank Langella to bite your neck? So there it is. More people went to see Dracula 1979, and that sexy vampire scene where they're making love again in the red light. That seemed to appeal to more people. So even Mina looks pretty sexy and hot as a vampire when she begins to change because the Count is working his magic on her. So yeah. The weird thing about the film, though, is the ending. The ending of Dracula 1979 is he is hoisted up to the top of the ship in the sunlight. They put a hook in his back and hoist him up there, and he's the sunlight kills him in the next shot. and Lucy's like, oh my god, my baby, my master. She knows he's gonna die, and she's almost completely turned into a vampire. So she's looking forward to an everlasting life with him, and then he dies. He's or we think he dies because he turns into a kite at the end of the film. That's the weirdest part of this movie. He doesn't turn into a bat. He doesn't turn into a wolf. He turns into a kite and flies off. That's how a vampire can get away from being in the sunlight. I'll just turn into a kite and fly away. And even Mina's like, oh, cool. He turned into a kite. Oh, I'll see him again someday. So yeah, there's our Nosferatu Comparatu. Turn into a kite. That's how you get away. So there it is. So we got through 3 movies. We talked about 3 vampire movies.
That was
Dracula.
pretty good. That was pretty good, General. I think it was a triple creature feature, is what I like to call it.
It's a first here on the show. Probably going to be a last. That was a lot of material to cover in an hour. But in any case, luckily the movies were so alike, so similar, that we were able to get away with it, and do a couple of impressions on the way.
It definitely made some sense.
All right. Well, that's it for this show, for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thursday.
I know I did.
Thursday.
And
I enjoyed it. We learned a lot about Nosferatu. And then Thursday, General, do you want to?
Thursday we'll be back. We'll be talking Gremlins, the first one, with Phoebe Cates and Zach Galligan. And our guest is Sandy D. She'll be on the show. This is one of her favorite movies. So she asked us, can we do this one? And I said, well, sure, certainly. The Gremlins are definitely some gnarly creatures that we have to protect ourselves from. So definitely. Major Hazzard, thank you for helping me keep this ship that's heading for England. I had to lash myself to the wheel.
Just like the captain. Like all good generals and captains, they lash themselves to the wheel.
But thank you for keeping the rudder straight, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Bye, everybody.
Next time. Keep an eye out for those big monsters.